A scheduling update. We're currently finalizing the schedule for August 2024. So if you're working with a program or know of a program that's rating and the rating is set to expire September 30th, and they have not submitted their application yet, please have them do so, ideally by the end of this month, so we can get them on the schedule. We've reached out to and emailed all the programs that are missing their applications, but we still have yet to hear back from several of them. So if you know of any programs that's tentatively set to rate in August, please let us know their status. You may have heard from some of your programs that we are reaching out a little bit farther in advance to have their level 3 to 5 applications submitted a little bit earlier. And that is true. We're asking the sooner that they can submit their application, the better, so we can get their spot on the schedule finalized. They'll still be placed in their regular rating month. We're not going to move anybody up just because they submit their application early, but we do want to just know that they are going to rate. So if they can reach out to us and let us know when their application will come through, or that they are still tentatively planning rating on their rating month, that'd be great, so we can get all those placed. The reason why we're asking for these applications to be submitted or at least confirmed with us as early as possible is that we're really trying to finalize the program placement on the schedule so that we can continue to do additional outreach to level 2 programs. These level 2 programs, as you all know, they need as much notification as possible so that they can be added to the schedule. For a lot of them, this is their first time going through ratings, even as the directors. So the sooner we can finalize the existing 3 to 5 programs, the sooner we can add those additional level 2 programs to the schedule. Also, we just want to really be able to plan out those assessor schedules. A lot of programs before, when they were doing virtual ratings, the assessors did not need to travel as much, but now we have assessors. Our assessment team travels throughout the entire state, so they need to book their rental cars, hotels, sometimes even flights. So the sooner we can get all the programs set in the schedule, we can give the assessors their schedule so they can start planning out that travel and their observations. Kind of wanted to just remind everybody that the rating window is a 2-month window. So if a program is rating in August, their documentation will be July and August. That means the lead assessor will be reaching out in June. So that's kind of why we need those programs that schedule to be set in May, or at least by the end of May, so that the assessors and the assessment team can go ahead and start completing those orientation calls as early as they can and planning out that travel starting in June. So again, if a program is rating in August, we'd love to have their application submitted by May or even earlier. If they wanted to rate in April, if they want to submit their application in April, that's perfectly fine. We would love to have programs submit their applications as early as possible so we can finalize, like I said, that schedule. Ideally, when it comes to scheduling, applications really should be submitted about 4 to 5 months prior to their rating expiring. Ideally, 5 to 6 months prior of that expiration date, so we can, again, finalize that schedule and get level 2 programs in the queue as quickly as possible. The programs, for example, expiring September 30th should have their application really already submitted by the end of April. Right now, we're talking about May. So when a program has a rating expiring in the end of September, they're rating in August, and that's why, again, we need their application turned in as quickly as possible. I did see a question. Let me see if I can answer that real quick before I move on. Hi, Amanda. Good to hear from you again. So she asked if a school has been in the queue to re-rate since last year. They did not like the rating they received. Will they be placed on the list this year? So the short answer is they should be. If you know of a program that's looking to re-rate, please let me know, reach out. We actually just created a new re-rate form that we're going to be sending out with programs after the consultation. That way we can kind of have a flag received on our end that the program wants to re-rate. We don't always know that they're going to re-rate unless they reach out to us or the coach does. We see their applications sometimes come through, but we might not see that application until we really move down that list. So if you know of a program that wants to re-rate, please let us know and we can kind of get them scheduled here as quickly as possible. How far out roughly is scheduling for a new 3 to 5 rating? That's the next question. So I'll answer that in just a second because I'm moving on to level 2s real quick, and it'll kind of answer some of that as well. So as far as level 2s go right now, I've currently reached out to all the level 2 applications through 2023. So if you have a program that submitted an application in 2023 and has not been scheduled yet, either when I talked with them, they told me they don't intend to rate, or they haven't reached back to me, answered my emails or my calls. So the ones So if you know of a program that has submitted an application in 2023, please reach out to me and I can get them scheduled as quickly as possible. There are, like I said, a few that just have not answered calls or emails. But so if you know of any of these programs, I want to get that queue cleared as quickly as possible from last year. We still potentially will have some space in August. So for those programs, if I can put them into August, that'd be great. However, after that, the fall is pretty full right now. A lot of these programs, again, kind of going back to the pandemic, when programs rated 3 years ago, they did virtual ratings. And so when they did virtual ratings, they didn't have, a lot of these programs didn't have students, had irregular programming. So right now during the summertime, a lot of these programs kind of had to be moved into the fall because they couldn't be rated in the summer again this time around because they don't have students to observe. So the fall has kind of filled up with a lot of these programs that do not have a normal summer program. So that is why the fall is kind of filling up. We do have space after the fall. And like I said, some space potentially in the fall as well for August, but after the fall, we have quite a bit of space available that we're looking to schedule programs. And that's where I'm doing that outreach to those level 2s to fill up the schedule as quickly as possible. So for those level 3 to 5s, as I mentioned, that are new, freshly applying, I've already made it through the list of the programs that apply since January. Hopefully here, I don't want to say the next couple months or next few weeks or how quickly I can do it, but my goal is to get all the programs placed in that schedule, hopefully with a rating window that they know of here within the next couple months. Doesn't mean they're going to rate in the next few months, but it's almost looking like we potentially could get all the programs in the queue scheduled for this future school year, meaning September of 2024 through the school year of 2025. It all kind of depends on the number of applications we receive from those existing L3 to 5s that are renewing their applications. But ideally, the goal would be to get them all scheduled within this next school year and then have the new applicants kind of filtering in through there. So hopefully that answered the question about the level 3 to 5 scheduling. The next question was, is there an opportunity for a summer rating if a program cancels an observation last minute? So the problem with the summer ratings, the short answer is yes. The more complicated answer is no, because as I mentioned, the rating window is really a 2-month window. So those programs rating in July, their documentation will open up June 1st. If you know of a program that can be squeezed into that July and they do not mind having their documentation window open up in about a week here, talk to me and I'll definitely keep them on the top of my list to pull them into July. But the difficulty is once June hits, it's going to be really difficult, and we don't usually schedule programs after that because they will not have the full documentation window. So if programs are in the queue already, are they likely going to be rated in August or not necessarily? So if they're already in the queue, if they already have received that notification of rating window, they're in the queue. If they have not submitted their application yet to me and I'm still waiting on their application, come June, I will move them out of the queue and put them on a different list, waiting to see when their application comes in. So if you do know of those programs that are just holding off to submit their application because they're not quite ready yet, but they want to stay in August, please definitely let me know sooner rather than later. That way I don't move them out, and I will keep them in the queue for August or even other future months as we continue to move forward. And the next thing I wanted to kind of mention is there's currently only about 60 programs that have submitted their level 3 to 5 applications and are not scheduled. So we've scheduled the majority of programs already for this, like I said, fall and early winter. Of those, there's a handful that I've been not able to get in contact with. So again, if you know of any programs that want to rate or ready to rate, please reach out to me as well so I can hopefully add them to my list. And then there's another dozen or so that when I've talked to them, they have told me they don't plan to rate again through Colorado Shine. They're going to do an alternative pathway. So again, if you know of programs that do not plan to rate or are planning to do the alternate pathway, please talk to them and have them reverse their application, because ideally I'd like to clean up the queue as much as possible and get any of those programs out of the list that do not intend to rate, so that they're not hanging out for the last year just sitting in there. So if you do not know about them, if you do know about them, please let me know their status and help get these programs off the queue for us so we can move forward with the other ones. Let's see. You can see the assigned rating month in Salesforce. So yes, I believe for most of your councils that they can see their rating month in the Salesforce. I just went through and assigned ratings for a large batch of programs, all through, I believe it's a lot of programs, I think even the ones that I have applications for and the ones that have been scheduled. So you should see most of the programs assigned a rating month that have been assigned a rating month. If they have a rating month, except for obviously moving into November, December, I haven't got there yet, but if they have a rating month within the next several months, they have all been assigned a schedule. They're all out in Salesforce, so you will be able to see them. My goal is, as I'm processing the applications and getting them scheduled, to automatically assign that schedule in Salesforce so that the councils and the coaches can see all of the programs out there on a basically live basis. So you're not wondering when are they going to schedule, when are they scheduled for. If I have their application, I have them scheduled, I'm placing them within their rating month. And so everybody can hopefully see that here moving forward in the future. It looks like there was another question. I'm not sure, but if you're logged into Salesforce, you can see the individual program. It might be something that we could be added. Send Dorothy and I. So looks like you're having a private conversation about that. But yes, Dorothy is the one that will definitely be able to help with that at the state, making sure everybody has the correct view for their programs. So as I mentioned, our goal on our end is to get these programs scheduled as quickly as possible and notify you councils and all the coaches and programs now so that they know when their actual scheduled rating is. So as soon as they're submitting their application, hopefully they'll be starting to get these rating months assigned to them almost instantly. Obviously, we're not quite there yet, but we're making a lot of progress on it. As I mentioned, there's only about 50 programs still that need to be scheduled, and my hope is to get them scheduled later on this year or into early next year. But those rating windows will be assigned here shortly, so keep an eye out for those. Are there any other questions about scheduling right now that anybody has? Please let me know. I wanted to leave a little bit of time for some questions as well. But if there aren't questions, I did want to kind of push and remind everybody that if you have not signed up for the in-person coaching meeting, the coaches meeting in June, please do so. Our team, the data team, will actually be going over the evidence document and answering questions in regards to the indicators. So if you want to join us, we'd love to be there to help you serve the programs better. If you know of anyone who is looking to learn more, ask questions to the data team, this will be your opportunity to talk to us live and in person. So please definitely sign up for that coaches meeting. We'll be doing an afternoon session answering a lot of the questions regarding indicators and what that documentation looks like. So please please sign up for that so we can help facilitate the conversations with all of you about those indicators and how those are scored. But in addition to scheduling any questions, I know I said a lot really quickly, so I apologize if I went too fast, but if you want to reach out to me individually, I'll post my email out here so you guys can send me an email. If you know programs, please definitely reach out to me. I want to be as much of a service to the community as I can for all the coaches and councils. So please definitely let us know how we can better serve you all serving the programs. So please, without anything else, I'm done here. I just wanted to, again, thank you all for everything that you guys do and let you know that we're here to help provide our service any way we can to help you guys.
Thanks, Ivan. And Stacy shared the rating windows report from Salesforce link, so I'll just go ahead and put that in our agenda so that we have it. Any other questions for Ivan?
Looks like there was one about, is there a way to keep the entire program observed on the same day? So the short answer is to that, no. Depending on the number of classrooms observed, there might be different assessors observing the program. There might be one assessor observing multiple classrooms. And so it kind of just all falls within that schedule of when the assessors can get out to that program.
Okay, cool. And we have your contact information on the agenda, and folks should know how to get there. Cool. Ivan, thanks. We really appreciate you and all the work you're doing. And it's nice to see our schedule is almost where it was before COVID. We've really made a lot of progress, and we've done a lot to keep ratings, just kind of on this normal schedule while still being accommodating to programs who have had their needs shift, which many programs have the past couple of years. So we appreciate your flexibility and working with us. And never hesitate to reach out to your QRIS coordinator on behalf of a program if you're concerned about the timeline, the rating window, anything like that. We never, the rating window should be a standard window, and a program should always be presenting at high quality, no matter the time of year, and no matter when the rating is. However, we do know that things come up, and we never want a program to be rating in a time they feel like they're going through a hardship. So, we just keep us in the loop. Cool. Eva, hi. Good to see you. You just muted. I don't know if you meant to mute or unmute. But...
There we go. Let me share my slides. And I just wanted to give a quick update from the EQ initiative. So let me see here. All right. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for allowing me to chat a little bit about some EQ initiative updates. I just wanted to report out a couple of numbers from our last quarterly reports that were due at the end of April. So as you all know, we're rounding out the fiscal year, and so we're looking at about 47% complete with coaching hours that have been completed, which is 950 hours of 2,000 that were requested initially. So keep doing those coaching hours and keep reporting on those. Encourage your coaches to get out there and do their coaching as much as they can, since we're kind of in the last quarter here. We also have 45% of the invoices have been submitted. So also, about halfway there. So if you have invoicing that you would like to submit, if you have budget requests, additional budget requests that you think that you can spend down by the end of the year, please let me know. And yeah, just keep those things coming in. Right now, I also reopened the window to add any additional requests for next fiscal year. After the statewide meeting, there was a few folks who had let me know that they were interested in maybe adding a couple of things, maybe adding a course, or maybe adding one of these 4 things that are listed here. If that is part of your council, or you're interested in doing some other type of work that is an allowable expense under the EQ initiative umbrella, please let me know. Was hoping to get those budget revisions yesterday. So if you think that you want to do something different, please try to get them to me at least by the end of the day tomorrow. Because right now I'm working with our finance team to develop the invoice templates for next fiscal year. So just wanted to open that window though kind of quickly and see if we wanted to make any quick shifts so that we weren't having to do budget revisions right off the bat. So a couple of the allowable expenses are under Find Coaching. We are hopeful to offer a Find Coaching certification. Most likely that would happen in October or sometime in the fall of this coming year. We're working on securing funding to do that. So keep your ears open, and I'll keep you all informed about that possibility that's coming. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. Yes, Sarah would love to do Find, and it's a really great model. It's all about serve and return. So Find stands for Filming Interactions to Nurture Development. And it's actually based out of the University of Oregon and also at Stanford University. They look at 5 different elements of serve and return. So really the coach really becomes skilled in looking and helping a caregiver notice when a child is offering a serve, and then offering those positive reinforcements around, look, you're doing this already. Here's how you can maybe try to do it more, and it helps the caregivers to be able to notice when children are offering those serves, when you're having a joint attention moment, when you're doing some of those different pieces of support to help a child's brain development. So that's a little bit about FIND coaching. Lena coaching is also one that is currently, is currently on the docket. We've been doing Lena coaching for a few years now, and it's kind of expanded out into lots of different communities now. So if you're already doing Lena coaching, yay, great. If you need some more support around Lena coaching, please let me know, and we can talk more about that. I'm always also happy to connect you with the Lena folks, which is Lauren Cooper and Pam with that team. Trauma responsive care is another option, which is also a community-led training, shorter training than the EQIT course. Trauma responsive care really is what it's saying. It's helping you as the coach, and also the people who are taking the course, to be able to think about, what does trauma look like, and how can we be responsive to that within the classroom, whether that's children, whether that's families, or whether that's ourselves. We are working with the State Capacity Building Center to offer another trauma responsive care train the trainer. We're hopeful to do that in the next couple of months. So again, if you're interested in trauma responsive care and offering that as a course this next fiscal year, let me know, and we will plan to send out actually an interest form to you all to find out if there's folks who are interested in going through that train the trainer with the State Capacity Building Center. And then last but not least, Touchpoints is another option. Touchpoints is out of the Brazelton Center in Boston. Many of you have heard of T. Barry Brazelton. He's developed also another great model that really helps child care providers work with families and thinking about what a family is doing well. There's all kinds of different pieces around Touchpoints as well that you become skilled in looking at through observation. Right now, the Boulder team, the Early Childhood Council of Boulder, is offering a Touchpoints training. It is starting in June. So I can actually add that flyer in here, and I can add that into the notes that can go out to the group here after this. But Touchpoints is another great training, really more, it's not a train the trainer model. It's really more geared to train coaches to be able to just have another tool in their belt. It works really well with the EQ Relate coaching model, and really builds off of that responsive care piece and also relationship building piece, but is a little bit more geared towards working with families. So those are some of the exciting things that we are excited to continue to partner with you all to offer in local communities over this next year. So I'm seeing some comments around excitement and ideas that folks are having. So we're happy to continue to support these new ideas, and just continue to support your communities. I will be sending out award letters as well as your folders, which will include your invoice templates in June. So I will be emailing you all of those things, and emailing you your fiscal contact, and then your primary EQ contact. I'll be emailing you those packets here in the next couple of weeks. If you haven't submitted a course plan yet, and you are going to be offering a course soon, please use the link that I have here. It's a Smart Sheet this year instead of the Word document that we had used in years past. So this year, the Word document is just shifted into a kind of survey-ish format, but it's really asking the exact same questions that you had always been asked. Just looking for your schedule, essentially. looking for the dates that you're going to be offering. And then, of course, the instructors that will plan to offer those courses. So please go ahead and submit course plans as soon as you can. Leah is working on helping infant toddler specialists to go through their infant toddler specialist credentials so that they're ready to teach for next year. The other thing that we're trying to gear up with right now is getting materials out to everyone for folks who are going to be teaching the EQ course. So if you are teaching an EQ course, your team is, I have included the link for the materials request. So that is available for folks now as well. And then folks, please continue to work with Leah. She's really going to be the point person to ensure that infant toddler specialists are up to date on their current credentials. I have a little bit of information about that on this slide here. So Leah is in the midst of reviewing and approving credentials. So the main things to know are the things that hopefully you have already heard from Leah and I before, but really it's making sure that your ECPC or your early childhood professional credential is up to date. Also keeping your trainer credential up to date. So you have to have your ECPC up to date so that your trainer credential also stays active. And then we're asking for folks to complete those 6 hours of infant toddler focused professional development. This year we're tracking that in PDIS. However, if there's something that you've done, we're looking actually at the last 18 months because we gave you a little extension. So if there's something that's not listed in PDIS over the last 18 months, there is a spot in that annual reflection form that you can indicate what those professional development hours were. And then Leah and I are going to start to track that so that we can, in moving forward, be tagging that in our PDIS system. So trainer credential up to date, 6 hours of professional development over the last 18 months. And then last but not least, completing the annual reflection. So those are the 3 things that were always the things that we were tracking. It's the same 3 things that we're working on there. Many of you joined us at the annual statewide meeting in Breckenridge this year, and it was just so much fun to get to be with you all. It was a really special time. We had about 75 people attend each day. Thank you, Touchpoints June. Oh, someone added the flyer. Thank you, Mary. We had 75 people each day. We had Dr. Eva Marie Shivers come and speak with us around change and what social justice looks like in the infant toddler space, and then talked more about our infant toddler specialist work with our curriculum and our coaching, and just really enjoyed getting to be with you all for those 3 days. So thanks to everyone who made that effort to be in that space with us. I think that is all I have to say on this, and I think I'm right about time. So let me know if there's questions that are coming up. I'm always here to support and answer questions, and yeah, thank you all.
Thanks, Eva. And yeah, all of the information and links and everything like that will be in the agenda. So feel free to access them from the PowerPoint there and share them out, whatever you need to do.
Perfect.
All
thanks.
right. Awesome. Elaine, welcome.
Hi, let me get my screen share going. All right. Can you guys see my screen? I am working on my laptop today, so I will not be able to see the chat or hands or anything. So please just come off mute with any questions, and then I'll check the chat once I'm done going through the slides. But hi, everyone. I am Elaine Maskus. I'm the PDIS manager in our workforce division, and I am going to share a little bit about the workforce income and benefits survey that you may have seen on the homepage of the PDIS. So just starting with a little bit of background, we all know that our early childhood workforce is undercompensated, and that CDEC and other stakeholders in this area have done various point-in-time survey efforts or other data collection efforts to understand the state of compensation for our workforce. But these efforts are really time and resource intensive, and they're often tailored to the specific work stream, right? So if someone has done this, this kind of analysis looking at stabilization grant recipients, it tells us what's going on for those grant recipients, but not for the workforce at large. Or you know, just focusing on wages and not on benefits or things like that. So that gave us some motivation to build a simple and brief survey in the PDIS that's going to get us really rich and useful information about compensation, benefits, and all that kind of stuff. And then having it within the PDIS allows us to combine it with other data about our workforce. So we can see, you know, do people with different education backgrounds have different compensation? Do people with specific credentials or specific PD have different benefits, things like that. Also at the department, we are committed to supporting improved compensation policy for our workforce. But in order to do that, we kind of know, we need to know where things are at, right? So if our goal is to move the needle here, we need to know where the needle is and to be able to track it. It's also going to help us tailor our supports and resources that we provide for our workforce. So what am I talking about? This income and benefits survey. So at the top here, this is a screenshot of part of the new dashboard when you log into the PDIS, and you'll see this button up at the top, on the top right, income and benefits survey. You just can click it and it'll pop up with the survey right on that home screen. So we're going to be doing this survey annually from May to September every year. And it asks about job roles, wages, annual income, benefits, and social service use. That's kind of the extent of the survey. I have screenshots of the entire survey in these slides that are in our agenda. So if anyone wants to see what it looks like without logging into the PDIS, they're right in these slides. And then lastly, the survey is open to everyone. So, you know, we know that we have the direct care workforce in the PDIS, and we do really want to know, understand the compensation that those folks receive. But there's a lot more people than that in the early childhood workforce. So the more responses we get, the better we're able to serve people. So, you know, if we can get a lot of coaches to respond, folks that work in early childhood councils or other support organizations, and that'll be just more information for us to have and more insights that we can share and work with. So our goals for this survey kind of fit into two main buckets. So one is to have, you know, stronger and higher quality data available for our department. So this is gonna help us inform and improve the resources and supports that we provide to early childhood workers in Colorado. And we'll be able to see, you know, is there a region of the state that could use some more focused support? Or is there a region of the state where folks have really strong benefits and we can look into that and try to model it? So just, this is gonna give us a lot more information to work with. And then the second piece is that we do want this to be a shared resource for stakeholders. So we want to make this data available and accessible within the right privacy restrictions. But we are happy to share out the information. As I mentioned before, there's lots of different workflows that have gone on to try to collect this information. So we're hoping that this can be kind of like a source of truth, and we can share out this data and then also put less of a burden on actual professionals if we can just get them to respond to this once a year rather than multiple different pieces. And then longer term, we do want to incorporate this data into the early childhood workforce dashboard. If you're not familiar with that, it's linked right in these slides. And it's a really great resource that the Colorado Evaluation and Action Lab has put together for us, where you can break down job roles, credentials, demographics, retention, things like that, by counties, by early childhood councils, by all kinds of stuff. So we don't have any like funding or explicit plans for how we're going to get this incorporated, but we do plan in a couple years to make it accessible there. Just a note on data privacy, you know, as a government agency collecting sensitive information about people, we do take this really seriously. So one note is that the survey responses aren't going to be visible to our staff. We've kind of put extra protections in place. So myself and the data analyst for the workforce division are the only people that have access to these responses. So any, you know, help desk staff or credential reviewers aren't going to be able to see these responses. Data sharing. So there's kind of 3 ways that we are thinking of getting this information out into the world. One is public facing analyses, and these will only be done in aggregate. So this is going to be things like getting this data integrated into the workforce dashboard, or, you know, if we include this in any reports that have related information, it's only going to be done at a group level, and there's not going to be any individual person's data that we share. Outside of public facing reports that we put out, we are able to help out with specific data requests. So if you want to know what the benefit breakdown looks like for your early childhood counsel, or what social services people are using for a specific at a specific job role, we're happy to do that and get it provided at an aggregate level. This is going to depend on the capacity of our analysts to get this done, but we are happy to share out the information that we get here. And then lastly, if anyone does want individual level data for any insight or research projects, we can get some data sharing agreements in place to get this, to be able to share this data. We will de-identify it, so take out any names, email addresses, employers, like the actual name of the program or license number, we would take out from any data that we share at the individual level, but we are still happy to support any work that this would be helpful for. Okay, so my last note is that it would be great if you all could help spread the word. I'm planning to put together some communications to send out to the workforce. I'm just a little behind with that. But you know, the more people we get that respond to this, the more we know and the more we can help. So if anyone would like to spread the word, we would love that. Okay, so that's all I have to present. I'm going to stop my screen share for a second so I can see what comments or questions have come up.
I haven't seen any. I've been keeping my eye on it.
Okay. So. Okay, awesome. Are there any questions or comments? Great.
Well, the more participation we have, the better, right? We want as many people to take this survey. We want to inform our community. This is for the greater good, so we can all have some real solid numbers to work with when we're pleading about compensation and what folks get paid. And so just want to reiterate how valuable this is going to be for all of us to participate in and to encourage participation in, because yeah, these numbers will shape future legislation in a big way. So
thanks, everyone.
thanks, Elaine. All right. Now we have a very special presentation.
There was a question from Amanda.
Oh,
Never mind. She got it. Thanks.
cool. All right. Karen, you want to take it away?
So sorry, I was having a little trouble with my thing. Okay, I am going to share my screen, and we are, oh goodness, where'd it go? Okay. Going to talk a little bit about the state plan today, and we are at that point. Oh gosh, I have an error. It says Infinity Mirror. Let me see what happens.
It's looking normal.
Okay. That's weird. I think I saw
Yeah,
that
you're
before.
good. You're good. You're good.
Okay, so I wanted to provide an overview of the proposed CCDF state plan. So we're in that space of creating our new state plan. State plans are 3 years. So this one will go effective October 1 in 2024 of this year. And so this is just going to be a bit of a high level overview. And then we're going to ask you guys to take a look at it and give us some feedback. So I'll be giving you a feedback form as well as the actual draft, and then doing a presentation today. Pretty, high level overview on the presentation, but just kind of highlighting things that would be great to have your feedback on. So, okay. So just as a reminder, the Child Care Development Block Grant is the actual law that governs how these funds get distributed to states. And then the CCDF is the funding source that's dedicated to states to support families and children in education. And the plan is actually how the state is going to use those dollars to advance supporting families and children. And the purpose of the block grant is what I was just starting to cover here, but it allows each state flexibility to develop the programs and policies that best suit that state's needs. So every state plan looks a bit different. It is intended to promote parental choice and to encourage states also to provide consumer education. It assists states in delivering high quality coordinated early child care education. And we know we've done a ton of work in Colorado on this, or that PDG has helped support with coordination. CCDF plan coordinates with that as well. Assisting states in improving overall quality, which a lot of you guys work on, improving the development of the children who do participate in CCDF, and then of course increasing the number of children experiencing support with this. So those are kind of the highlighted goals. And what I'm going to do next is, and these slides will be, well, actually I've already put the slides in the agenda so you can find them there. And I will also be sending out the state plan too. And I think Charlie said he could drop it into the chat if you guys want to follow along that way. But also I did want to kind of give an overview on keeping in mind that this is not to be confused with CDEC's like strategic plan. So CCDF is not an all-inclusive funding source for everything that CDEC does. So this plan is very specific to what CCDF funds within our state. So there are 10 sections of the plan. And if, let me do something real quick. I think will help if I show you what it looks like, because it's a little easier to follow in my opinion. Is there's a table of contents with the 10 areas. And then as you go into each of those areas, and I'll cover this really high level, but then you can see in here the plan elements and how it's currently written. And this is what we want your feedback on. So getting back here, here's our 10 plan sections. And quickly to go over those, program administration, as you saw that I shared over here as an example. Sorry about all the clicking back and forth, but I think it's easier to see it in here. You'll see like section 1, CCDF program administrator. And so it just kind of talks about who we are and who our point people are. And so it follows that same same guidance. And that's going to be the feedback form that I keep clicking on. So, but the purpose is just to describe the organizational structure as I showed you in the plan. Section 2, child and family eligibility. This is really about our CCAP program. Many of you are aware that our CCAP program is going through some changes, both from federally mandated and some state initiated changes, and those will be incorporated into the state plan, although not likely to be implemented until the 2026 time period, because we are seeking a waiver for implementation because of the data system component that's required for that. And we've also on these slides just noted some of the Colorado innovations that are kind of as part of these different sections. And again, the plan allows us to discuss some of those innovations, but yet the funding requires us to, how is going to dictate how we use that. So going on to the next one, childcare affordability. Again, this to facilitate affordability of childcare. You guys will also notice this falls right in line with the scopes of work we have with early childhood councils. One of the big changes is copays being reduced to a maximum of 7% by 2026 for CCAP families. As a reminder, copays do get reduced by another 20% if they're attending a high quality provider. Those are things that are already, the copay reductions already in place. The copays being reduced will be something that is going to be put into place with that by that 2026 deadline that I mentioned. And we are also ensuring that there's going to be some security. I was just on a meeting this morning, so there'll be more to come on this, so that families who might be paying less than 7%, they wouldn't have an increase in their copay. Okay. Parental choice. The strategies to provide families a full range of providers. So again, this is, I prefer a family childcare home. I prefer a school-based. I prefer a center-based home. So the big thing on this is that Colorado is going to move away from the market rate survey to an alternative rate methodology survey. I'm not going to be able to answer like specific questions on that because it's not my area of expertise, but there's going to be more information coming out on that. I heard Michelle McEnbrown present on this recently, and it's somewhat technical and I won't be able to explain it, but there's more information coming on that. But basically it'll help. It takes into account like full cost versus just what a provider is currently charging. So that should really help with getting rates of reimbursement more in alignment. And again, let's see, health and safety. This of course is mostly licensing. And none of this is changing drastically. You know that licensing rules have gone or in the process of a rewrite or update, and so that will continue to be the case. Supporting a skilled and qualified compensated childcare workforce. Again, there's been a number of innovative strategies in the workforce space that our workforce team has been working on. So there's some of those have been captured here as strategies to support within our state plan. Quality improvement activities. This is the area that our unit worked on the most. Again, not a lot of changes from the current state plan to the new state plan. Just some of the innovations that have been noted. In particular, Colorado Shines being embedded in our licensing system is pretty rare compared to other states. So that was just one of those things. And again, if you go over to the state plan, and sorry about the scrolling, And if you go down to that section, this is where we'd love to have your feedback. And of course, I think it's like page 70 something. But anyway, you probably get the gist of that. This blue fonted language is what we are proposing. We're almost there, section 5. I'm so sorry about this. But of course, our Colorado Shines system is noted in here, our childcare resource and referral, our collaborations with our early childhood councils are all noted in here as part of that plan. Section 8, lead agency coordination and partnerships. Again, this is where we are recognizing all the various partners that we work with to implement our state plan. And then family outreach and consumer education. Of course, the Colorado Shines website is a big portion of that, where we have, of course, the licensing information there, consumer education, various information for families to access online. And then the last category is the program integrity and accountability. So this is what us as the lead agency must comply with to ensure that the funding is used appropriately. And then really, this is important. This is the timeline we're working off of. We have a very fast timeline for our feedback. In fact, your feedback form is going to say it's due tomorrow. But if you could get us something feedback-wise by Tuesday at the latest, then we'd still be able to incorporate that into draft changes prior to June 3rd, which will be the public hearing. And I believe an email went out about that either earlier this week or late last week. So I know that was super fast. And Stacy, yes, the PowerPoint is in the agenda. And the feedback form is also in the agenda. We'll also send it out in an email, but frankly, you won't, by the time the email goes out, you won't probably have time to actually read through it and give us some feedback. I would say, you know, if you're pressed for time, maybe really focus on the areas that are most meaningful to your work. So if, you know, you don't have time, you don't have to worry about like section 1, that's administration. So, or section 10, that's, you know, our responsibility for reporting. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to do that and look forward to seeing you guys on the 3rd. It sounds like it's going, I'm not sure the logistics just yet on that, but it'll be an all-day session for folks to jump in and give feedback on the state plan. Questions? Again, I know it's really quick, and maybe you saw part of this in other meetings, which would be great. So, but yeah. So you have the PowerPoint and the feedback form and the draft. If you want to just grab those links and open them up and save them for when you have a few minutes, then we will also include them so that you have the draft to refer to. But just know we're kind of in that space of making some adjustments on the fly as we're getting feedback. And then we'll have a final version here at the end of June. It's pretty exciting. So again, nothing hugely different in the quality side and the health and safety side, which is great. So other questions? Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Karen. So for those of you who didn't have something to do Memorial Day weekend,
right?
now you do. Hopefully it won't take that long, and this is very valuable for us, for all of us. So we appreciate your partnership here with this. and you may or may not be here in the state plan presentation at other meetings that you attend. So we're just trying to get it out there to as many folks as possible. All right, my turn. Let me get my slideshow going. All right, so I'm just going to talk very briefly about some updates that we're making to our minor improvement application for Colorado Shines. As we all know, funding ran out this year. And so while in the past we've been able to make this a first come, first serve application, because whoever needed to apply could apply, we've had to make some updates to that this year. So I'm just going to talk through a little bit how we're visioning the minor improvement grant to look this year. So here is the timeline for the grant. We're going to have folks who, and I want to preface this by saying, if there's extra funding, then of course we can revisit this and, apply more grant funding and everything like that. But this is just initially what our process is going to be. So programs are going to seek intent to apply for the grant from July 1st through August 31st. We have created a Google form. I'll just share this real quick, what this looks like. We're not asking for a ton of really in-depth information or a crazy application, just your basic questions. So your council, who the main ECC contact is, the program name and license number, whether or not it's a family child care center or a regular center. What's the main area for the request? Check all that, apply. Just a real quick description of the request. Is the request needed to maintain licensing compliance? And do you have that kind of documentation? What is the priority of the request? What's the priority in terms of childcare availability in that area? Have you received minor improvement funding in the last 24 months? Or any other grant in the last 24 months. And then just a reminder that you have all of this documentation. And if there's any other information that they would like to share. So we are going to have folks fill that out between July and August, anyone who wants to apply for the grant. So Jennifer, the idea is this is going to be filled out by the coach who's working with the provider who's interested in the grant. So your council will be the one filling out this intent for capital improvement or minor improvements. Okay, so by September 15th, we're going to determine who we are giving the priority to, and we will be moving at that point the funding into that council's funding stream from the parent funding stream. We meaning the CDEC. And then we're going to have providers get into our new quality improvement module by the end of September to complete the request in there. So we know that there, and of course, project completion by 6/30/25. We know there are a couple extra steps here, and we apologize. The last thing we want to do is give you extra work to do. But we just needed to figure out a way that we could look at how much funding we actually had to allocate before we could allocate it. Yes, Stacy.
So I think this is great. Thank you for this. And it answers some questions that we've all hadn't been getting from some of our providers already. My question would be about project completion, because that is the council's deadline to have all the paperwork done and wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow, not that they're finishing their fence on July 30th. So I wonder if we could either say that the project completion deadline will be something that is set by the council, and this is a council deadline, or something like that, so people aren't like, oh yeah, because similar, Heather says they set theirs for May 1st. We usually set ours for the first Friday of May. But we'll have people thinking they truly have till June 30th.
Yes, yes, this is just what the legislation tacks on is the deadline, but you are welcome to have your own internal deadline and stick with that and support that. So yes. And
Thank you.
this is subject to change as well, and that's a good point. This is just kind of looking at the legislation, but realistically, yes, we would want projects done. So everything could be submitted before the last day of the fiscal year. So
Yes, thank you.
cool. Thanks for bringing that up. All right, so this is what our proposed rubric is going to look like. So just real basic, how necessary are the minor improvements? How likely is the improvement going to improve the daily quality for infants and toddlers? Has a program received a minor improvement grant in the past year? Has licensing been consulted? And what is the current Colorado Shines level? So these aren't going to be determining whether or not a program receives the grant, but these are just kind of the factors we're considering when we're going to be doing our application review. And this could change depending on how many requests we get in as well. So if we may have to add some more factors to consider if we are just bombarded with requests, or if we don't have as many requests as we think, then we may be able to just award whoever applies old school style. As a reminder, programs need 3 bids before pictures, liability insurance, highly recommend bonding, and letter of support from licensing, as well as a project description. Just a reminder, so how to support programs between now and July is just remind programs that minor improvement funding is not a given. It's not saying, go and do this job, don't worry, we'll get you back. It's saying there may be a grant out there to support a minor improvement, but just remind programs that it is at this point a more competitive grant. It's not super competitive, but it is. It's not everyone receives it. Have programs begin to gather their documentation, especially those bids, because we know those can take a long time. Ensure you have a system internally to provide support with applying for minor improvements. So make sure you have your internal systems in place. Work with your programs to determine priorities. So you are the experts of your communities, and you've been working with programs, and what are really a priority, a game changer in terms of providing quality for the children in their care, and what might be more of a cosmetic or something that would be nice to have and would help, but might not be, that huge priority. And also stay in communication with your QRIS coordinator. Stacy asked, do they need all the documents initially to fill out the Google form? Good question. No, we decided that we're not going to have you upload documents there and in Salesforce. So we originally were going to do that, but we decided that was definitely too much work and too much to finagle. So we will ask if they have the documentation, but we're not going to have you upload them until you're doing the formal request in the QIM. Yes. Yes, but the program should have the documentation. Oh, that was it. So, as a reminder, this is our first time doing minor improvements this way. We may run into some hiccups. We'll be sure to share out all of this information in a more formal email communication that includes that request form and everything like that. But I know, we are approaching the end of the fiscal year, and we're getting very excited to start next year. And I've been getting a couple of questions on this, so just wanted to let you guys know what direction we are going with this, and open it up to any questions. Feel free to ask Michelle, Lilith, or I any clarifying questions you have. Yeah, that is that presentation. Any other questions on this? Okay, I know there may be some more in the future. Just a reminder too, I just put here on the bottom of our agenda that June invoices are due the first week of July. We don't have the exact date yet, but usually it's the 5th or the 3rd, whatever is closest to the 4th. So just be aware, start gathering that.
Yeah, let's just reminding everybody that's a quick turnaround, so be prepared for that. But also just if you're catching up from April or May, because we're finishing up May, get those in as quickly as possible as well. As you know, we're trying to make sure we're forecasting our spend down. And we have that, as I've mentioned a while back, have that kind of making sure the stimulus funding that was part of your budgets gets fully allocated. So we just need your invoices as quickly as possible to do that.
July 5th is a Friday. Yeah, my guess is it'll probably be because with the CDC has the 4th and the 5th off this year, I
Yeah,
believe.
forward.
So it'll probably be that Monday. Yes, details to follow, but just just a heads up to
It'll probably show up on the email before it actually gets to us.
yeah.
I mean, invoicing inbox, but as soon as we know something, we'll spread the word. But I mean, just going on past history of the last 10 years, it's always been very, very close to July 4th. So we think it'll be that first week.
Right. Well, we had a shorter agenda. I feel like this has been happening to all my meetings today. I
Ooh,
know a
take
lot of
time to read the state plan.
Yes, yeah. Now would be a great opportunity to take some time to read the state plan and give your feedback. Again, the plan and the feedback form and the PowerPoint are all in the agenda. Also, yeah, I think that is actually a great use of our time. I'll just pretend like that was our plan from the get-go. Have an awesome 3-day weekend. Karen, do you have anything else you want to share?
Well, just wanted to thank everybody for being here, and thanks for your feedback. It's really, really critical, and we always appreciate your partnership. So, and have a great weekend. Hopefully y'all get to do something great for yourselves.
Yes, finally a beautifully weathered weekend. So get out there, enjoy Colorado. Thank you all. Great to see you.
Thanks, everyone.